Hello everyone, and welcome back to JB's Total Gaming, where today I'm going to be taking a look at Gravity Ghost. Gravity Ghost is a rather unusual indie game. It's available for $15 on Steam, and, well, it is a very pleasant game about a dead girl. So I'm not really going to talk too much about the story of the game. There is a story to the game, and it's told in an interesting way. I'm going to show a little bit of a cutscene at the end to give you an idea how the story is told. But as you can see, I am this girl with very, very long hair floating around in the sky, and then right there you see I get pulled into a planet. So this game plays around with the idea of gravity and different size objects pulling you in with different force, and then using that to manipulate yourself and move yourself flying around. It is a rather beautiful game, and you see there I get a star and it allows me to open a door and move on. The beginning levels of the game are very simple, and I'm really going to show you stuff from pretty near the beginning of the game, give you a little bit of an idea of some of the different things in the game. So there's the satisfaction of crashing into those balls. It's almost like bubble wrap. There is the somewhat optional idea of collecting these flowers. These flowers make your hair longer, and then your hair is used for special abilities. And again, we're not going to get too into it, but this is a really interesting game because I've been thinking recently about games that don't have combat as a mechanism in a game. Board games, you have a lot of that actually, but in video games, combat seems to be either the main thing or at least involved in almost every game, and this is a game that definitely doesn't do that. Now, you might say the gameplay is overly simple, and what I'm showing is pretty simple. There are a little bit more complicated things, but this is a game that's meant to be enjoyed. It's not meant to be overly frustrating. There are some little puzzle elements to it. You can collect as many of these flowers as you want if you want to spend the time doing it, and you'll see me grab this we'll say it's a spirit, but we won't get too much into what that's for. That kind of comes along with me, and it is a mechanism within the game, and you'll see me here doing the very first of the puzzles. There are several of these that actually unlock more mechanisms in the game. So this is a game that really is rather simple. But as you play, the game does unlock more mechanisms. This isn't a game like a walking simulator where you're just experiencing the story. There certainly is a story, and the gameplay is rather simple as you move along. But unlike maybe Journey or the recent Abzu game, where you are mostly just walking or swimming towards a destination, with definitely some elements changing things up as you go and changing the pacing and whatnot, this is a game that you do actually play. And you see right here, I unlock one of the first mechanisms within the game, the ability to make myself heavy. So I'll hit the button here in a second, and you'll see kind of this shape come around me, and I can manipulate the gravity of myself. I can make myself heavier, or eventually later in the game lighter, and there's a nice little move where I actually managed to get that on the first try, because normally those planets you would bounce off of, and some of the levels are super quick, and you're going to move through very quickly. So if you're someone into traditional challenging gameplay, then this game is definitely not going to be for you. If you're in for super lengthy experience, this isn't super lengthy, but it is a fairly inexpensive game, and it is a pleasant one. There's so few times that I can play a video game and just think of it as really pleasant. And while this girl is a ghost, it isn't a dark game at all. It is a very light game. There are some interesting elements to it, some elements that maybe at first glance might seem a little bit dark, but it's done in a very, very interesting way. And I'm not going to give away any of this story. I'm not going to do anything like that. I'm being very careful about what I'm showing, but just the satisfaction of popping those things, bouncing off these planets, and just flying around, choosing to collect these things if I want to, choosing some mission or some levels getting through very quickly, playing around with the mechanisms, the changing of my own density, I guess, however you want to put it. And then later on, there are some other, this is still relatively early, the elements of terraforming planets is something I can do there. So I change the color of my skin and actually change it into a water planet to allow me to get inside of it. So there's all kinds of little interesting things as you move along. So unlike a game like a walking simulator or a kinetic novel that just presents a story, this game has gameplay, but it's just breezy, easy, enjoyable gameplay. Now, again, this game isn't going to be for everyone. If you're a competitive gamer, certain things like that, this may not interest you at all. But I thought I'd point it out for those of you out there that might enjoy a game with a different pace. Just in, one of those things where you've got 15 minutes, go through a few levels at the end of the night just to relax. It is a very unique game, and one that I've been enjoying quite a bit. And while I tend to focus on a lot of different things, maybe games that would interest board gamers. One of the things I like to do is just independent games I find interesting, and this is certainly one I find interesting. And here we see a little example of a cutscene. And again, there are people that I obviously wouldn't recommend this game for, that they would hate it, but there are plenty of people I feel like that might be looking for an experience that's a little bit different, a little laid back, and just pleasant. And that's definitely what Gravity Ghost is. So thanks a lot for watching, everyone. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you enjoyed seeing a little bit something that might be different if you're looking for a little bit of a different experience. And it's what we'll try to keep doing for you, bringing games that I find are interesting. I'm especially interested in these smaller indie games that are a little bit more inexpensive, that offer something different that the industry doesn't see too often. And out of I've been playing several lately, and this is definitely one that I've enjoyed. So thanks a lot for watching, and we will talk to you again soon.